Hey everyone! Welcome back to GOSPEAKLY English Podcast. Oh my goodness, I am so excited for today's episode. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sophie.
And I'm Daniel. Happy to have you all here today.
You know, we absolutely love bringing you practical, real-world English that you can actually use in your daily conversations. And today, we're talking about something that literally everyone loves.
Holidays and festivals, right?
Exactly. How to talk about the holidays and festivals you celebrate. I mean, think about it. When you meet someone new, what's one of the first things people ask?
Oh, definitely. Do you celebrate this festival or that holiday? It's such a common conversation topic.
Right? And here's the thing. I've been teaching English for 9 years now, and I can tell you that talking about your culture, your traditions, your festivals, it's one of the most beautiful ways to connect with people.
Absolutely. And it's not just about vocabulary, it's about sharing a part of yourself.
Yes, so today we're going to teach you exactly how to talk about your holidays and festivals in English, naturally, confidently, and in a way that makes people actually interested in what you're saying.
We'll cover everything from describing the festival, talking about traditions, explaining why it's special to you.
Food, decorations, family gatherings, gifts, everything.
And we'll give you real examples, common mistakes to avoid, and practical phrases you can start using right away.
Before we jump in, if you're enjoying this podcast, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to GOSPEAKLY English Podcast, and drop a comment telling us which festival you celebrate. We read every single comment.
Yeah, we genuinely love hearing from you. It helps us create better content for you.
All right, let's get started.
So, Sophie, let's start with the basics. Someone asks you, what festivals do you celebrate? How do you answer that naturally?
Great question. You know, a lot of learners make it way too complicated. They try to explain everything at once, and it becomes this long, confusing speech.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
The key is to start simple. Just name the festival first, then add 1 or 2 sentences about what it is. For example, I celebrate Diwali. It's the festival of lights in India.
Nice and clean.
Exactly. Or I celebrate Christmas. It's a Christian holiday where we celebrate the birth of Jesus. See? Simple introduction.
What if someone celebrates something less known internationally?
Oh, that's even more interesting. Let's say you celebrate Eid. You could say, I celebrate Eid. It's a Muslim festival that marks the end of Ramadan, which is a month of fasting.
That gives just enough context without overwhelming the listener.
Right. And here's a little tip. People love learning about new things, so don't be shy about your festival. Be proud.
Absolutely. Now, what about timing? How do you talk about when the festival happens?
Good one. Timing can be tricky because some festivals follow lunar calendars, some are fixed dates. It gets confusing, right?
Yeah, like, it depends on the moon sounds weird.
It does. So here's what you do. For fixed dates, super easy. Christmas is on December 25th every year.
Simple.
But for festivals that change dates, you say, Diwali usually falls in October or November. The exact date changes every year based on the lunar calendar.
Oh, that's smooth. You're explaining without getting too technical.
Exactly. Or for Eid, Eid comes at the end of Ramadan, so the date changes each year. It's based on the Islamic calendar.
Perfect. What about duration? Some festivals are 1 day, some are multiple days.
Yes, duration is important. You can say Diwali is celebrated for 5 days, or Christmas is mainly on December 25th, but the celebrations start earlier in December.
Or for Hanukkah, it lasts for 8 nights.
Exactly. Now here's where it gets fun. After you introduce the festival and timing, people usually ask, so what do you actually do?
Right, the activities and traditions.
This is where you get to paint a picture. Use descriptive language. For example, instead of just saying, we light candles, say, we light small oil lamps all around the house. It looks absolutely beautiful at night.
Ooh, I can imagine that.
See? You made it visual. Or for Christmas, instead of we decorate a tree, say we put up a Christmas tree and decorate it with lights, ornaments, and a star on top.
Details make it interesting.
Always. Let me give you another example. If you celebrate Holi, don't just say, we throw colors. Say, we throw colored powder at each other. Everyone gets covered in bright colors. Pink, yellow, green, blue. It's so much fun, but also super messy.
That sounds amazing. And see, you added your personal feeling there. It's so much fun.
Yes, personal feelings make your description authentic. You're not reading from a textbook, you're sharing an experience.
What about food? Food is huge in every festival, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. Food is probably the best part to talk about because everyone loves food.
True.
So when talking about festival food, mention what it is and maybe why it's special. For example, during Eid, we make special dishes like biryani and sweet desserts called sheer kurma.
Nice. What about Christmas?
For Christmas dinner, we usually have roasted turkey, mashed potatoes, and lots of desserts. My favorite is gingerbread cookies.
That sounds delicious.
Right. Or for Thanksgiving, we have a big feast with turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. It's all about food and family.
I'm getting hungry just listening.
Me too. Now, here's a common mistake I see all the time.
Oh, what is it?
People use the wrong verb with festivals. They say, I'm doing Christmas, or I made Diwali.
Oh, no.
I know. The correct verb is celebrate. I celebrate Christmas. We celebrated Diwali last week. Are you celebrating New Year?
That's such an important correction.
Super important. Another mistake, saying Happy Diwali in the middle of a sentence. Wrong. You say, we wish each other Happy Diwali, not we say Happy Diwali to each other's.
The grammar trips people up.
It does. Okay, let's talk about gifts because gift giving is part of so many festivals.
Yes. How do you talk about that naturally?
Simple phrases work best. We exchange gifts with family and friends. It's traditional to give money to children in red envelopes. I usually give chocolates or flowers as gifts.
What if you receive gifts?
I received so many lovely gifts this year. My favorite gift was a book from my sister. We opened our presents on Christmas morning.
These are so practical.
They are. And here's something cultural. In some cultures, you open gifts immediately. In others, you wait. You can explain that. In my culture, we open gifts right away to show excitement. Or we usually wait until later to open gifts privately.
That's a nice detail to add.
Now, before we move to part 2, let me give you some quick starter phrases you can use when someone asks about your festival.
Yes, please.
One of my favorite festivals is, we celebrate it by, it's a time when, the best part is, traditionally we,
Those are super useful.
they really are. Okay, let's move to part 2, where we'll talk about the deeper meaning, family traditions, and how to handle tricky questions.
All right, part 2. So, Sophie, we covered the basics. Now let's talk about the meaning behind festivals. This is where conversations get really interesting.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you explain why a festival is important, you're sharing your values, your culture, your beliefs. It's beautiful.
How do you start that conversation?
Usually people will ask, what does this festival celebrate? Or what's the meaning behind it?
Right.
And here's where you give a bit of history or significance. For Diwali, you might say, Diwali celebrates the victory of light over darkness and good over evil. It's based on an ancient story from Hindu mythology.
That's meaningful.
Or for Easter, Easter is about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's the most important festival in Christianity.
What about non-religious festivals?
Great question. Let's take Thanksgiving in the U.S. Thanksgiving is about being grateful for what we have. Families come together to share a meal and express gratitude.
I love that.
Or New Year. New Year is about fresh beginnings. We celebrate the end of one year and welcome the new one with hope and resolutions.
Simple but powerful.
Exactly. Now let's talk about personal traditions because this is what makes your story unique.
Oh yes, every family has their own little traditions.
Right. So when someone asks, how does your family celebrate? You can share those special details.
Give us some examples.
Sure. Every Christmas Eve, my family goes to midnight church service together. It's been our tradition for years.
That's lovely.
Or during Eid, my grandmother makes the best kebabs. We all gather at her house and eat together.
Food brings people together.
Always. Here's another one. On Diwali night, we light diyas. Those are small clay lamps, and place them all around our house and in the courtyard. Then we do prayers together as a family.
Beautiful imagery.
Or for Hanukkah, every night for 8 nights, we light one more candle on the menorah. My dad usually leads the prayers, and we sing traditional songs.
These personal touches make such a difference.
They really do. Now here's something important. Talking about changes or modern adaptations.
Oh, like how festivals are celebrated differently now?
Exactly. You can say, traditionally, people used to celebrate at home, but nowadays, many people also go to community events.
Or with technology?
Yes. These days, we video call our relatives who live far away so they can join the celebration virtually.
That's so relevant, especially after recent years.
Absolutely. Or, when I was a child, we made all the decorations by hand. Now, people often buy them from stores, but I still prefer making them myself.
That shows your personal preference.
Right. Now, let's talk about comparisons, because people often ask, is it like Christmas, or is it similar to Thanksgiving?
How do you handle those comparisons?
Very carefully. You want to acknowledge similarities without erasing differences.
Give an example.
Okay, if someone asks, is Diwali like Christmas? You could say there are some similarities. Both involve family gatherings, gifts, and special meals. But Diwali has its own unique traditions, like lighting lamps and fireworks, and the religious significance is different.
That's respectful and clear.
Or for Eid and Christmas, both are major religious holidays with family time and feasting, but Eid follows a month of fasting during Ramadan, which is a unique spiritual preparation.
Perfect balance.
Now, here's a tricky situation. What if someone asks about a festival they've heard negative things about?
Oh, like misconceptions or stereotypes?
Exactly. This happens, unfortunately. The key is to stay calm and educate politely.
How?
Let's say someone says, "Isn't Holi that festival where people waste water?" You could respond, "I understand that concern. Actually, traditionally, Holi uses colored powders, not much water. Some places have started using dry colors only to be more environmentally conscious. It's really about celebrating spring and friendship."
That addresses the concern without being defensive.
Exactly. Or if someone has misconceptions about Ramadan, actually, fasting during Ramadan is a spiritual practice. It teaches discipline and empathy for those who are less fortunate. We break our fast every evening with family, so it's also a time of togetherness.
Education over confrontation.
Always. Now let's talk about emotions. Festivals are emotional, right?
Oh, definitely.
So don't be afraid to express those feelings. I get so excited when Diwali approaches. It reminds me of my childhood.
Nostalgia is powerful.
It is. Or Christmas is my favorite time of year. There's just something magical about it.
What about missing festivals when you're away from home?
Oh, that's a big one. You could say, last year I couldn't go home for Eid. I really missed being with my family, but I celebrated with friends here.
That's relatable for so many people.
Or celebrating festivals away from home is hard, but it also makes you appreciate your culture even more.
Beautiful sentiment.
Now, let's talk about invitations, if you want to invite someone to experience your festival.
Oh yes, sharing your culture.
You could say, "We're celebrating Diwali next week. Would you like to come over? You can experience it firsthand."
That's so warm and welcoming.
Or, if you're free on Christmas Eve, you're welcome to join us for dinner. We'd love to have you.
And if someone invites you to their festival?
Show appreciation. "Thank you so much for inviting me. I'd love to experience how you celebrate."
Or ask questions.
Yes. Is there anything I should know beforehand? Any dress code or customs I should follow?
That shows respect.
Exactly. Now, common mistakes in this section.
Let's hear them.
One big one, saying happy holidays when you mean a specific holiday. If you know someone celebrates Christmas, say Merry Christmas. If they celebrate Hanukkah, say Happy Hanukkah.
Be specific when you can.
Right. But if you're unsure, Happy Holidays is perfectly fine and inclusive.
What about pronunciation?
Oh, festival names can be tricky. It's okay to ask, how do you pronounce that? People appreciate you trying to get it right.
Better to ask than mispronounce.
Absolutely. Another mistake, assuming everyone celebrates the same way. Don't say, oh, you're Christian, so you must do this. Everyone has different traditions.
Individual experiences matter.
Yes. Okay, let's wrap up with some advanced phrases for those who want to sound even more natural.
I'm ready.
This festival holds a special place in my heart because, growing up, we always... One tradition I've carried into adulthood is, the festival wouldn't be complete without. What I love most about the celebration is...
These are fantastic.
And here's a beautiful way to end a conversation about festivals. You know, festivals remind us what's truly important. Family, gratitude, joy, togetherness. That's universal no matter which festival you celebrate.
That's so true.
It really is.
Wow, Sophie, we covered so much today.
We really did. From the basics of introducing your festival to talking about traditions, food, meaning, and even handling tricky questions.
And all with natural, conversational English that anyone can use.
Exactly. So here's your homework, your challenge for this week.
Oh, I love the challenges.
Think about your favorite festival. Practice describing it out loud in English. Tell someone about it, a friend, a family member, even practice in front of a mirror.
And use the phrases we taught you today.
Yes. And here's the fun part. Come to our community and tell us about your festival. We genuinely want to know. What do you celebrate? What makes it special?
We read every comment, and we love learning about different cultures.
We really do. And if you found this episode helpful, please hit that like button. It helps us reach more English learners like you.
And subscribe to GOSPEAKLY English Podcast so you don't miss our next episode.
We upload fresh content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Real English, practical lessons, no boring grammar drills, just conversations that help you speak confidently.
Before we go, remember, your culture is beautiful. Your festivals are special.
Don't be shy about sharing them with the world.
Your traditions, your stories, your celebrations, they're all part of who you are.
And when you share them in English, you're building bridges between cultures.
That's powerful.
It really is. So practice, be proud, and keep learning.
Until next time, keep speaking, keep learning.
And keep celebrating. This is Sophie.
And Daniel.
From GOSPEAKLY English Podcast, saying goodbye for now.
See you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.